Our final two primary groups are pulse rifles and scout rifles, which I honestly have the least to say about. Scout rifles in general I believe to be in a rather good place at the moment, and even with all the other changes I've spoken of, I think they would still sit in a good spot. I could see arguments for small nerfs to guns like Jade Rabbit and Mida, and potentially the whole archetypes to which those exotic scouts belong, but they don't need much change. Small nerfs to stability or body shot damage, but not headshot damage, and if anything, I'd even remove their range stat entirely to make them have no drop off whatsoever, because they're scout rifles. I might also give them small buffs, most likely in headshot damage to the highest rate of fire scout rifles, to make them a bit more appealing in PvP, but nothing that would shift scouts dramatically from where they are now. I also heard a brilliant suggestion on Twitter the other day that suggested that high caliber rounds should be removed from every weapon type besides scout rifles to give them an additional appeal over hand cannons and pulse rifles in PvP. I like this idea a lot, although I don't know how it would shake out, and honestly I don't know how upset the entire community as a whole would be if you just removed high caliber rounds from some of their pulse rifles, including some of the most popular pulse rifles in the game at the moment, Clever Dragon and Blind Perdition. Anyway, moving on, I just thought that was a good idea and it was worth mentioning. Pulse rifles are the most difficult weapons to balance. I'd like to first state off that yes, Red Death is my favorite exotic and I want it to be good in PvP again. I know I'll be somewhat biased on that count. That said, that archetype really isn't that good right now, and I don't think it's too much to ask for buffs to bring it back into the fold, along with the lowest rate of fire messenger archetype. However, that is very tricky, because as I've stated in the hand cannon section, armor plays a large part in how your pulse rifle performs, which on paper sounds like a cool idea. In practice, everyone just runs high armor stats so as not to be too bursted by messenger and the like. Also, having Red Death as a 3 burst makes the gun worthless when you have the faster firing Hawksaw, PDX, Grasp, and now Clever Dragon and Blind Perdition, which can all 3 burst with much more forgiving rates of fire. But if you make the Red Death and Hopscotch and such a 2 burst, will it be too dominant? So, I don't know. What do you do? I'll be 100% honest, I really don't know how to best balance that archetype of pulse rifle. The easiest way would be to make both Messenger and Red Death archetypes a 2-burst kill to the head, but nerf stability on at least the Red Death archetype as well as potentially decreasing the rate of fire on the Messenger archetype a little bit further. Red Death and Hopscotch would need all 6 headshots to be a 2-burst kill, so simply nerf the stability on those weapons to make that fairly difficult, but not impossible. Messenger types should have good stability and higher damage to make for an easier 2-burst even at range, but rate of fire might have to be reduced to allow scout rifles to overtake its kill time should the player wielding the messenger type require another burst to kill their opponent. And their stability should be just so that scouts have a much easier time engaging messenger archetypes at longer ranges. I also do think that range nerfs are in order for the Grasp archetype, Clever Dragon, and all that, all those pulse rifles at least make the drop-off curve steeper so that you actually notice that damage you start missing at mid to long range, instead of the fact that the gun fires so fast, essentially making that a non-factor. Make range actually matter on pulses, especially the fastest firing archetype, because that is where the lower to middle rate of fire pulses like Red Death lose out, because the rate of fire is just so that any damage loss at range is a huge deal, unlike faster firing pulses. Giving the Red Death archetype some extra range wouldn't hurt either. Stability should honestly be Pulse's main balancing factor, so it should rest with a range value higher than what it has now, higher than Hawksaw archetypes, but also a little lower than Messenger archetypes. That is all I have to say about pulse rifles, ladies and gentlemen. If I missed something, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comment section below. I've enjoyed all your feedback so far. Thank you guys so much. Also, I will have a link, probably an annotation right now, as well as a link in the description to my Bungie.net forum post. My entire script that I'm reading off of right now to make these videos is linked in that forum post. And, there's been a lot of attention on the forums lately. Bungie has even replied to 1 or 2 posts saying, we should buff primaries back to what they were in year 1. We should make primaries super, super powerful again so that specials don't reign supreme. And Bungie actually responded and said, how many people think that should be the case? They've actually asked for feedback. So I figured I'd put in my thoughts on the forums The forums usually is a terrible place. It's not a very good place to express your thoughts. But I think since all the attention is shifting there over the past couple weeks, I thought I would just, go ahead and post my thoughts there. So if you could go to that link on the forums, you may or may not have a Bungie account. You probably do if you play Destiny, because you need a Bungie account to obviously link your accounts for Destiny Item Manager and things like that. So if you go to that forum post and upvote it a little bit, show it some love, maybe comment your own thoughts there as well, I would be much appreciative. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.